Globally, our cultures are unique and diverse. But for the last 100 years or more, our classrooms have looked the same. We are all taking too many tests. And if the answer that the school is looking for is only on the test, if the only answer they will accept is on the test, creativity dies. There is an unfortunate correlation between the rate of teenage suicide and the countries that are focusing on academic excellence. Our governments seem to think that education is textbooks and tests. But the research shows that there is something more interesting out there, a new possibility. And it's based on a simple idea. Intrinsically motivated learning is better than extrinsically motivated learning. Put in simple terms, when we're learning because we want to, we learn better. When we're learning because we have to take a test, we only learn what we have to for the test. So there's something interesting here about the word better. Maybe what we mean is that it's better because the learning that happens when we're learning because we are intrinsically motivated lasts longer. We keep this information for longer. So that's better. Maybe the learning that we do, because we can retain it longer, it has more value to us as adults. So let's do a simple test. If this is how much algebra you knew when you took your last test before going to college, clap if you remember 100% or more. No mathematicians? Okay. Clap if maybe you remember about half of it. Clap if really it's something more like this. You don't know what you've lost by not knowing that algebra now. So maybe we need to look at effectiveness. Maybe the learning that we do when we're doing it because we care is more effective because that investment pays off over the rest of our lives. But maybe we should look at learning in the context of the entire life of the student. Then we could say something like, intrinsically motivated learning is building the foundations and habits of lifelong learning, rational thinking, and expanding creative capacity more than extrinsically motivated learning. Yeah, I think so. But so that you remember this when you get to school next week, intrinsically motivated learning is better than extrinsically motivated learning. I got so interested in this question about why we keep teaching in a way that doesn't actually help our students later in life. And my life changed when, almost by accident, I started a summer camp in my backyard. In 2005, I invited 8 children to come and stay at my house and co-create with me a new kind of camp experience. The thing that people notice most is that I gave these children power tools. For that very first day at camp, we built a bridge 7 meters long. And then we put everybody at camp on the bridge. Then we added all the adults. One day at camp, a boy found a box, a cardboard box in my garage. And he started to make a boat. And I said, if you finish your boat by Friday, we will take your boat and put it in the shark-infested waters of the Pacific Ocean. We see opportunity in everything. And what we found was that our best results were when we didn't know any more than the students whether the project would work. We took every opportunity we found. When 18 kilometers of railroad track were abandoned by a factory, we saw an opportunity to make wind-powered trains. One day at camp, a student asked me a question, and it took me by surprise. She said, "I have never worked so hard in my life. Why can't school be more like this?" And this question rolled around in my head for 2 years. And I thought, yeah, why can't school be more like this? And I started Brightworks, a school where the student and the staff are as committed to education as they are when they're intrinsically motivated. A place where the student and staff works together to create an education. Our school works very differently. We have a pedagogy that sees the student as the hero of their own journey. The student-centric learning here at our school is inspired by the work with the kids at camp. And so there is a great degree of playfulness in our school. It's almost impossible for me to explain what our school is like without showing you. I took my camera at 10 o'clock in the morning and I walked around the school. Here we see students and staff working together on a sewing project. Here in the art studio, students working independently. The teacher's attention is on something else entirely. And as we move through the studio, we see the wood shop where we can fabricate things in wood and metal. It's part of the school, it's not a separate building. As we leave the shop, we see the entrance of the school where the students' work is displayed. And we come around the corner and we find a single boy alone working on a weaving. And behind him is a classroom. Finally, some children in a classroom. But where is the teacher? Our school is very different than the experience you have when you're sitting in a desk. The mixed-age learning experience is so common in our school that we don't even notice it when it happens anymore. Students in this environment feel safe, feel brave to try something new, to discover their own competencies. Our staff are constantly looking for ways to include the students in the work. And we take the same opportunities that we took in camp. And when the rain came after a year of drought, we ran outside and made rain shadows. You find our students everywhere. We're out in the city as often as we are in class. We want the student to understand that learning doesn't just happen at school. Learning is everywhere. We work really hard. It's not an easy school. When we look at when the learning is happening its best at our school, we find 3 common elements. The first is that the students have a high degree of autonomy. They're doing what they're doing because that's what they want to be doing. We give them enough time to make a mistake and learn from it, not to be judged, but to see the learning opportunity. And they have a reason for learning that they believe in, a story that they are living. So, most education thinks of you as a student as someone that we have to get from point A to point B. And the way that we're going to do it is with a textbook and a test to see if you're at point B. But the truth is, there's a lot more out there than point B, and every single one of these other destinations is just as valid as the one in the textbook. One day, the students asked a question. Could they collect their own meteorological data? Could they put together the same kind of science that a meteorologist does? They did the research, they ordered the parts. The balloon is at 1,000 meters. We're still hearing the children screaming. Through data analysis, they found that they could still hear their screaming at 1,500 meters. At 3,000 meters, we're high above San Francisco. We see the entire section of California. And at the edge of space, we see all of California stretching out, and then the balloon pops, and the package falls back to Earth. When we got that balloon, when we followed those GPS coordinates to where the balloon landed, and we analyzed the data, we discovered that the balloon had gotten as high as 25 kilometers, more than twice as high as passenger jets fly. Finding the science package in the field was an unforgettable experience that I guarantee these children will tell their children about. I certainly do it every year, tell this story. Our school tends to be joyful. That is the normal feeling at school. We work on things that don't go on tests, and you can find us in a classroom, for sure. Lots of good things happen in a classroom, but you're more likely or just as likely to find us outside in the world. We love math, but we focus on character instead of curriculum. We're trying to raise good people, good, smart, agile learners, people who can learn anything. We study new topics. We're brave about taking on new challenges. The students come to school early to get extra time to work on their projects, the things that they're so driven to do. They stay late until we close the school. Our students are silly because they feel confident in the environment. Our students feel mutual appreciation for each other's work and each other's individuality. So I say, let us be brave. If we want the next generation of students to grow up believing that anything is possible, feeling passionate about who they are and what they can do, this is how it changes. Let's give them autonomy so that they might figure out who they are and what they're interested in. Time enough to make a mistake and learn from it, and a story that they believe in because they are writing it. If you're a student, I ask you to start a conversation with your school. Why are you still testing when all of the research says that it's bad for us? I ask you, if you're an adult, a parent or a teacher, talk to your school about reducing or eliminating the tests. Right now in the United States, there is a movement of parents to take their children out of school on the day of testing. It's starting to change. La revolución comienza ahora. Gracias.